All right, so are you ready for another deep dive? Today we're heading to Japan. To be a little more specific, Edo period Japan.
Sounds exciting. I'm ready when you are.
Well, the listener sent in these pretty fascinating notes called, well, it's a little long, but the file name is Japan Notes EQ6 Samurai EQ7 Edo.pdf. Sounds like maybe some students' notes, but some intriguing questions popped up right away.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, the first one that jumped out at me was, what were the expectations of samurai? What did it really mean to be one?
Right, beyond the sword. It's easy to romanticize that image, but there's a lot more to it, right?
Totally. And then, this period of Japanese history with the Tokugawa shoguns ruling, it's a pretty big deal, right? So another question was like, what actually occurred under the Tokugawa shogun?
So we're going to be looking at the samurai themselves, and the context they lived in. A
Yeah.
good deep dive always looks at the bigger picture.
It's exactly. We got to understand the whole scene.
Mm.
All right, so diving right into the samurai stuff. This document, the first thing that caught my eye was it compares samurai to European knights.
Interesting. How so?
Well, it basically says they were more like generalists, not specialists, meaning they weren't just sword-swinging badasses, you know?
Right, more well-rounded.
Exactly. They were expected to be good at horsemanship, using spears, archery, and obviously the sword, the katana. Like, that's a whole skill set right there.
It's pretty remarkable, and it makes sense given their role in Japanese society. I mean, they were the warrior class, but they were also administrators, landowners.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So you needed a pretty diverse skill set to manage all of that.
Yeah, definitely not just about brute force. And this is kind of cool. The document mentions this female samurai, Tomoe Gozen.
Oh, wow. I've heard of her. Didn't she fight in the Genpei War?
Yeah, totally breaks that stereotype of, samurai being only men.
It makes you wonder how many other amazing women warriors there were throughout history, right? Whose stories haven't been told.
Right. Okay, so shifting gears a little bit,
Mm.
the whole concept of honor, seppuku, and even Zen Buddhism,
Yeah.
it's all tied together, right?
Absolutely. It's central to understanding the samurai mindset.
Okay, so in the document, it talks about how samurai were under this immense pressure to live up to this, like, super strict code of conduct, and any slip up, even like an honest mistake,
Mm.
could bring dishonor.
That's right. And that's where seppuku comes in, the ritual suicide.
Yeah, the whole disembowelment thing, it's pretty intense.
It was seen as the ultimate way to restore honor. It was about taking responsibility and facing death with composure, which, you got to admit, is pretty mind-blowing to think about.
For sure. And then it gets even more interesting because the document connects this to Zen Buddhism and meditation. I mean, ritual suicide, AND, peaceful meditation. How does that even work?
Well, Zen was a huge influence on Bushido, the samurai code.
Yeah.
It was about cultivating discipline, focus, inner peace.
Right, that inner strength.
Exactly, which was essential for warriors who were constantly facing danger and having to make life or death decisions.
It's like those seemingly opposite practices actually complemented each other. So you've got these highly disciplined samurai warriors bound by this intense code, but they're also serving a lord, a daimyo. It's giving me like medieval Europe vibes.
Right. That feudal system was the bedrock of Japanese society for centuries. It's all about loyalty, obligation, and service.
Like a serious, hardcore loyalty oath. So the samurai were pledged to their daimyo. They had to protect him, his lands, everything.
Exactly. It was a reciprocal relationship. The samurai provided military service, and in return, the daimyo provided land support and protection.
Right, so it kept everything in balance. Everyone had their role to play.
Mm.
Now, this is where things get interesting. The document marks 1603 as the start of the Edo period and the Tokugawa shogunate taking over.
That's a huge turning point in Japanese history. A new era of peace, stability, but also isolation.
Isolation, like they shut themselves off from the world.
Pretty much. The shoguns weren't big fans of outside influences. They wanted to consolidate their power and maintain control, so they implemented strict policies to limit contact with the outside world.
Wow, that's pretty drastic.
Yeah.
And the capital moved to Edo, right, which
Right.
is now Tokyo. So a lot of big changes happening all at once. And then boom, we get to the Meiji Restoration in 1868.
The end of an era. Literally, the document says emperor takes power from shogun, end of feudal era shogun. Short and sweet, but definitely a big deal.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's got to be like a total upheaval of their whole society. What happened to the samurai?
Well, their traditional role became obsolete. I mean, Japan was modernizing rapidly. They needed a new kind of army, a new kind of government.
Right, no more feudal lords and knights. It's kind of sad in a way, isn't it? The end of an era. But I wonder about their legacy. Like, what can we learn from the samurai?
That's a great question. I think their values, their discipline, their loyalty, their pursuit of self-improvement, those are all things we can still admire and learn from today.
Totally. Maybe we can all channel our inner samurai a bit, even in the 21st century. Strive for that excellence, dedication, and commitment. All right, folks, so that was our deep dive into samurai in Edo, Japan.
I hope everyone enjoyed it as much as we did. It's a truly fascinating period of history.
Absolutely. And hey, if you've got any thoughts on the samurai code or how their values resonate today, let us know. Always love hearing your perspectives.
Until next time.
Take care, everyone.